Hello and welcome back to the free podcast course. My name is Nicholas, and in this video, we're going to look at how to grow your show. So what I'm talking about here is how to launch your podcast successfully, and then once it launches, how to make sure that you can continually build your audience and grow that audience so that ultimately you can grow more followers and you can sell more products or services or whatever it is that your goals are. You can try to hit those goals. So up until this point in the previous 4 steps, we've been talking about how to come up with the ideas, how to get all the designs ready, how to get your technical equipment ready, and how to produce content. And so this is really the moment you've been waiting for, because now if you have all of that ready, you're ready to launch your podcast. Now, when we talk about a launch, there's a lot of complexity to launching a podcast, but it doesn't have to be complex. But I will say this, your launch is very important. You don't want to just put your first podcast episode out there and sort of let it simmer. You want to have a very strategic approach when you launch your podcast, because really you can only do it once, and your launch can make or break the future success of your show. Why is that? Well, primarily it has to do with podcast discovery, because if you remember back to that chart I showed you early on in a previous video where we looked at where people consume podcast content, you'll remember that the majority of people consume content on Apple Podcasts. I think it was over 50%. And with Apple Podcasts, there's a section called New and Noteworthy. And if you can get your show into the New and Noteworthy category, you have a really good chance of building an audience early on that's a lot bigger than what you would have built if you didn't get your show into New and Noteworthy. Now, there's no guaranteed approach for getting into New and Noteworthy, but a lot of it, from what I've read and from what other podcasters have put out there as strategy, a lot of it has to do with how effectively you launch your podcast. So what I want to do is break down 5 strategies to having a successful podcast launch, and I've sort of visually represented them here on this page. So let's go through each one. Number 1 is, when you launch, you don't want to launch with just 1 episode. You want to launch with at least 5 episodes that are ready to go. So you want to sort of build up a backlog of episodes so that when you have your official launch week, or maybe it's a launch month for that matter, you have enough content where people can really get a sense of why they should subscribe. Because think about how you might consume a podcast. If you find a new podcast and you listen to the first episode and you think it's great, that's cool. But if you only see that 1 episode there and there's really nothing else, you might not have enough motivation to want to subscribe to that show. But if you see that there's like 5 episodes ready to go, and maybe you listen to 2 or 3 of them, there's probably a higher likelihood that you're going to create this affinity for that show and therefore subscribe to it. So I always recommend having at least 5 episodes ready to go before you officially begin what you would consider your launch week or your launch period. The next step, or the next tip for having a successful podcast launch, is to use some paid advertising. Now, if some of you out there are saying, I don't want to spend any money to promote my podcast, that's fine. You don't have to do this, but I just can tell you it is so much more effective to build your audience early on with paid advertising, because it can help create that snowball effect. It can create momentum. So even if you don't plan on using paid advertising as a regular method of promoting your podcast, I would recommend investing, even if it's $10 a day, on Facebook ads or on YouTube ads or something like that, just for that first month or so. I think that can really make a big difference in getting that initial listener base connected to your show that they otherwise might not have heard about it. The next recommendation is to leverage your existing network of friends, family, coworkers, colleagues, professional connections you have on LinkedIn, whatever it may be. You want to connect with the people who are already in your sphere of influence, as it's called, and try to get some feedback from them. Send them your podcast and say, hey, would you check this out? Would you give me a review? Would you give me some feedback on it? Would you share it with your audience? This is a fantastic way to get that early listenership up just from the people you already know and the friends of the people you already know. Next up are reviews. Now, reviews are so important to podcasts. I could easily do a whole separate video, and I probably will do a separate video on reviews someday later. But for now, let me just tell you that reviews are really, really important, especially if you can get a review on Apple Podcasts. Because again, That's where a lot of podcast discovery happens. That's where the majority of people consume podcast content, and reviews are an important part of their ranking algorithm. So you want to try to get as many legitimate reviews as possible. Do not pay for reviews. Do not get your friends to give you fake reviews. Don't do anything like that, because the algorithm is smart and it will detect that type of fraudulent or shady activity. So you want to have natural looking reviews that come in over time. You don't want to have 100 reviews on day one, but you do want to try to get reviews. And some techniques you can use are, if you have a guest on your show, ask them to give you a review when they're done. If you have an outro at the end of your show, mention, hey, we're on Apple Podcasts. Here's a short link to leave a review. Getting reviews are really important. There's another site called podchaser.com, which has been sort of one of the up-and-coming sites in the podcasting community, and that's another really good place to get reviews. You can also get reviews on some third-party podcast apps. And last but not least, we're going to talk about social media, because during your launch week, you want to do sort of an extra heavy social media push. So we talked about distributing your podcast normally and how you would normally share it on social media. But during your launch week or your launch month, if you're having a launch month, you want to be extra mindful of how much you're sharing on social media, and you really want to get the word out there, because again, you're trying to build up this audience early on so that you're creating momentum and getting more downloads and getting more views and getting more reviews, because that's going to help you climb the charts, especially on Apple Podcasts, and hopefully get you into new and noteworthy, although it's never a guarantee. But all of this momentum is definitely going to help you later on. So we just talked about having a successful launch week, and that is really, really important. But that's sort of a one and done type strategy, because after you have your launch week, then it's just a matter of getting into your normal cadence of producing and distributing podcast episodes on a regular basis. But what if you really want to grow your audience over time? What if you really want to continue to scale your podcast? I'm going to wrap up this course with just a few more recommendations for how you can scale your audience. Number one is to promote your show with ads. So I talked about this during your launch week, but if it works for you, and if you have the budget for it, and if you're seeing a return on your investment and it's actually working, why not invest a little bit of advertising dollars behind your podcast? After all, you're investing all this time and effort and technology creating your show, so why not spend a little bit on the distribution? And that's the beauty of platforms like Facebook ads, where you can target people very specifically. You could say, I only want to target business professionals who are on an iPhone, on their mobile device, who are interested in marketing, whatever. And I only want to spend $5 a day. Believe it or not, you can be that specific and you don't have to spend that much money, but it can help you get in front of an audience that you may have never otherwise reached. Another recommendation is to get more reviews. We talked about reviews already. So just the reason I put this in here is I don't want you to think of reviews as only something you should do during your launch week. You need to get reviews beyond your launch week. So you need to continually mention on your podcast episodes, hey, would you please hit that subscribe button? And if you don't mind taking a few minutes to leave a review, it is greatly appreciated. It's one of the best ways to help others discover the podcast for the very first time. That's something I like to say on my podcasts, and it seems to get a good response. Another technique I've used on some episodes is I'll read a review. I'll say, James from so-and-so said that this is the best podcast he ever listened to, and he recommends it to all his friends. And then I'll say something like, hey, thank you so much, James. Hey, if you want to get a shout out on a future episode, go ahead and leave a review for the Growth Marketing Toolbox podcast, and I may mention you on a future episode. I read every review. Thank you. Here's where you can go to leave a review. Something like that can get a lot more engagement than just saying, give me a review. Another recommendation is, if you want to scale your audience, publish more frequently. If you look at the charts, some of the most successful podcasts have either a celebrity behind them, no kidding, right? Or they have like a big name behind them like NPR. But some of the smaller shows that have big audiences that are not backed by a celebrity or by a huge brand, the reason they've climbed the charts is because they publish so frequently. They publish almost every day. There's a lot of shows that will publish Monday through Friday. And so it's not easy, but if you do want to get more listens and more downloads, then obviously if you're putting out a lot of quality content on a more regular basis, that's going to help you. So you could always increase your publishing frequency. And then last but not least, another technique for scaling your audience is to go get interviewed on other people's podcasts, because it makes sense. People who listen to podcasts listen to other podcasts other than yours, and those are the people that you want to listen to your podcast. So why not go to where that audience is? Find shows that are similar to yours, reach out to the host, and you can even do an exchange and say, hey, I'll love to do an interview on your show. I'd like to interview you on my show. And this could be great for both of our audiences. So that's a great way to scale your audience. And last but not least, what I want to talk about is how to monetize your audience. Now, this is something I think a lot of new podcasters jump into too quickly. They jump into podcasting thinking, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money. I'm going to have a whole bunch of sponsors, Squarespace and GoDaddy, and all these companies are going to just be emailing me, breaking down the door to sponsor my show. And the truth is, it really takes time to build up an audience and to build up a podcast that is successful enough to attract that type of money or those types of advertisers. So don't get your hopes up. But I will tell you, it is certainly possible to monetize your podcast, but it's slow and steady. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something I would even really think of in the first 6 months. I would really focus on building your audience, putting out content, and doing the best job you can without worrying too much about sponsorships or monetization, okay? But when it comes time to monetize your show, if that's something you want to do, there's 3 ways you can do it. Number 1 is to promote your own products or services. Now, this is what's worked out the best for me. I have a marketing agency. I talk about marketing services on my show. I talk about landing pages, for instance, on the Landing Page School podcast. And guess what? When people want to hire someone who's a landing page expert, guess where those people go? They go to Landing Page School, okay? So it's been a great source of leads for my business because they already see me as a thought leader in the space. They hear the content and they just say, maybe I don't want to do this on my own. I want to hire someone. Why don't I hire you? So it's a great way to promote your services or your business or your products if your show is already talking about that stuff. The next thing you can do is promote affiliate links. Now, an affiliate link, if you're not familiar, it's where you would have a third-party relationship with a company like Amazon or Squarespace or whatever, and if someone purchases a product or a service through that link, you get a small commission. Now, the thing with affiliate links is they work really good for websites where people are clicking because it's easy to track the affiliate link. With a audio-only experience, it is more difficult to get someone to type in an exact URL. So if you do go this route, it's not easy, and you usually have to do it in a way where you're using very short, very memorable URLs. I'll give you an example. One of the products I promote using an affiliate link is a landing page software called Unbounce. So if people go to landingpageschool.com/unbounce, they will get redirected to basically the affiliate link. So I'm using a redirection link. And so if you do this, I can mention on the show, hey, today's episode is made possible by Unbounce. It's a fantastic landing page builder that's used by over 14,000 companies, myself being one of them. And I love this tool for building highly optimized landing pages without needing to know how to code. You can try Unbounce for free for 14 days. And if you decide to stick with it, if you use my partner link, you'll get 20% off your first 3 months. So how do you get it? Simply go to landingpageschool.com/unbounce and sign up right now. That's landingpageschool.com/unbounce. So that would be like a little skit I would do if I want to promote Unbounce. And just make sure you make the link very memorable and make sure you repeat it more than once. And don't say it in a way that's too promotional, and don't say it like, every 30 seconds in the show. I'll do that maybe once or twice in an episode, and I don't normally do that on every episode. So you don't want to come off as overly promotional on your podcast, or else you're going to lose listeners. Okay, last but not least, you can get sponsorships. And this is probably what everyone's thinking about when they are thinking of how to monetize their audience. They're thinking, hey, this huge sponsor with all this money is going to come in and just give me a bag of money and say, hey, we love your podcast. We want to sponsor your show. And while that's possible, the truth is it takes a long time to get to that point. In fact, in the 5 years that I've been podcasting, it's only really started to happen in the last year where people would email me and say, hey, we'd like to sponsor your show. And in most cases, I turn it down pretty much all the time because I don't like the company, or I don't feel the company that is making the offer is a good company that's reflective of what I want to promote. It's usually like a very enterprise company, and I don't want to promote that on my show. So it is possible to get sponsorships, but it takes a lot of work building your audience to a level that's going to be sufficient for an advertiser or a sponsor to come in. So don't get your hopes up, but just try to focus on building your audience, because if you can build your audience, the sponsors will come. You don't even need to go looking for them. They will find you if you build your audience successfully enough, but that takes time. So be patient. So that's going to wrap up this video. We went through the 5 steps of how to start a podcast. So there's just one video left in my free podcasting course. And this one's going to be really important because I'm going to share my very best podcasting advice. So that's going to be in the next video, and I will see you there very shortly.